Earsketch Lesson 2. We're going to start this lesson by doing a little bit of review from our first lesson and then adding our own beats. So if you're here in Earsketch, you've already logged in and we're not going to have any scripts loaded. So let's create a new script. I'm going to click on scripts over here on the left-hand side. Click on new script. And this one we're going to call lesson 2. I'm going to call my new lesson 2, but you'll just call yours lesson 2. And we see this comment section at the top. Remember, we talked about this yesterday, but our lesson talks about comments and how important they are. So for script name, I'm going to call this lesson 2. For the author, you're always going to put your name. And for a description, we're going to put that this is making beats. So those comments already come with the code. We're going to add some more comments today. We also talked about a print statement. So we're going to add 2 print statements, one that says that we are beginning our code and one that says that we are ending our code. So I'm going to have a print statement and then in quotation marks and parentheses, I'm going to say something like, let's go back to our slide, say this is the beginning of my script, and we're going to add another one that says this is the end of my script. So let's do those 2. Then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to add some space. You might notice that on line 13, I did not have a space between print and parentheses, and on line 15, I did have a space. It doesn't matter. The code editor does not care about the spacing. It ignores the spacing, so you could do it either way. And now if I run this, down here in my console, you'll see this is the beginning, this is the end, and then it says that it ran successfully. Now I'm also going to add 2 more comments. Let's go back to our slide. And you'll see on line 15 and line 17, I'm going to add comments. So remember, comments are not executed by the computer. Nothing's going to happen when I add in the comments, but it's a way for me to add notes to the programmer. It's also a way for me to stay organized. So I'm going to add these 2 comments, sound bank variables and intro, that we're going to be using as we continue this lesson. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to add some more space. And remember that a comment always starts with the hashtag. So I'm going to type that in, sound bank variables, and then go down a couple spaces and intro. Now my code should look very similar to this one. I'm ready for the next part. So for this part of the lesson, we're going to listen to some of the sounds that are available. We're going to pick some instrumentals, some beats, and we're going to put them together to create our own type of sound clip. So first let's find out where these sounds are, and then how can I incorporate them into the code, which these next few slides will talk to you about. So we're going to stay here on lesson 2 script, and over on the left-hand side, we see like a little headphones and the word sound. So I'm going to click there, and something I can filter by is by artist, by genre, or what different types. So I'm going to clear this. So right now I can see everything. Okay. So I have a sound collection, I have featured artists, and I have recommendations. So most everything happens right here in the sound collection, and I can move this down so I have a little bit more space for my sound collection. And some of these will have several. So in this Sierra Melanin beat, if I opened it up, then there's 4 more down here. For the vocals, I can open it up and I can see the different vocals. So just be aware that most of these are going to have like a drop down, and there'll be several clips included in there. So here's a drum beat. If I want to hear it before I decide I want to use it, I can click on this little green triangle and I can preview the sound. And maybe I want to hear the next one. Didn't sound very different. It's just so by following this, you can try a lot of different sounds. Now, if this seems like it's like too much, You might want to filter by just the artist. Maybe I only want to hear the make beats. Or you could filter by genre if there's a particular beat that you want to hear. So I can clear this. Maybe I want to filter by genre. Maybe I only want to hear hip hop. Or you could filter by instrument, or you could do any combination. So if I want to hear only drums in this hip hop, and then that will, so I don't have to look through everything. So that's an option that you have. Maybe I want to hear this one. All right, so I'm kind of liking this one. If I want to use it, well, if I want to just flag it as one of my favorites, I can click on the yellow star, and that will, flag it so it's easier for me to find. If I do want to use it, I'm going to put my cursor here in the sound bank area. So I'm going to start on line 16. And if I want to use it, instead of having to type this entire word, I can just click on this blue icon, paste to the editor, and there it goes. I want to find another one. I could keep in the same family right here. Maybe I want to try this Dusty Through. If I like it, I'm going to go to a new line. And I'm going to click on the clipboard again. So now I've got a couple of them. And maybe I want to try something other than drums. Maybe I want to try a keyboard. So I'm going to try, let's see what's included here. And you're going to pick your own sounds. You don't have to do mine. So these are kind of different. I don't know that they're going to go, but well, the things you click on don't have to necessarily go either. So whenever I pick a sound, make sure you go to a new line. You just click on it. I'm going to pick one more, and this time I'm going to pick maybe a bass. So notice I'm pressing enter each time. I'm going to go to a brand new line before I click on paste. So right now I have 4 sounds in my sound bank, but I haven't made them into variables yet. So typing all this, it's easy for me to make a mistake, or it's going to really make my code really long. So we learned in Code Sculptor that we can use variables. So I can assign each of these some kind of variable name. Then instead of typing the entire name of the clip, I could just refer to it through the variable. So this was going to be my beat 1. Remember that each variable has to be unique, so that'll be beat 1, and this will be beat 2. Remember, no spaces in a variable name. And then this one was a piano. If I had more than one, I could number it. Right now I just have one, so I'll just call it piano, and I'll just call this one bass. You see how these are much shorter, but yet still descriptive. So I've got my sound bank of variables. You can have more than 4, and you can mix them up. You don't have to pick beats and piano and bass. You can pick any instrumentals that you'd like. Then we are ready to create our intro by using fit media. So for every, I have 4 sound variables, so I'm going to have 4 fit medias. So I'm going to type the word fit media. And then in parentheses, I'm going to pick which of these I want to do first. So I might as well just do beat 1. That's my first parameter. The second parameter is a track. So each of these should go on their own track. So I'm going to start with track 1. Then what measure do I want to start on? I'm going to start on measure 1. Let's say I'm just going to go 1 to 4. And then for my beat 2, maybe I'll do beat 2. I'm going to start on track 2. And maybe since the other one stopped at 4, I'll start this one at 4 and I'll go to 8. Let's just go that far so far. I'm going to click run. And then you can see my tracks. And it looks like my second track, I'm kind of like really zoomed in right now, so my second track doesn't start till right here. Usually it's going to be a little more condensed than that. Let's hear it. Right, so I kind of resized it so you can see both tracks now, and that I've got 8 measures. Now I want to add in the piano and the bass, so I can keep it like the same thing with 1 and 4 and 4 to 8, or I could kind of mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to add in another fit media. Let's try the piano. This time I'm going to go to track 3. Remember, everything should be in its own track. I'm going to start it at 1 and go to 4. And then I'm going to come here and do my bass. I'm going to go to track 4 and I'll do 4 and 8. So let's just see if I like it. I can always move things around. So I'm going to click run again. Now I can see 4 tracks and it tells you what each track is and where you can see where it starts and where it ends. I'm going to click play. Okay, so I like it pretty good, but I can change things around a little bit. Maybe I want the bass to come in earlier. So maybe I want it to start at 2 and go to 5. And I can start my piano at 5 and go to 8. And let's just see if we like that. You can see some things are overlapping a little bit or not overlapping. So your assignment is to have at least 4 variables, each one having its own sound, at least 4 fit medias because you need one for every variable, and you can start and stop them wherever you'd like, but you should have 8 measures. So you can play around with the numbers. Remember, each fit media is going to be on its own track, but then the second two, the last numbers, beginning and ending, you can adjust these as much as you want. You can even have more than 8 measures if you'd like. When you are satisfied with your sound clip, then you are ready to go to share and click on this copy. Include that on your assignment document so that you can paste it, turn it in, and you're ready and do your reflection, ready for a grade.